Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So I'm hoping I still have some subscribers. As some of you may have noticed, I haven't been around much during January, and that's because I've had the flu. I'm pretty much over it now, but apologies in advance if my voice still sounds funny and I'm a bit nasal. So I'm really behind now in terms of movies that I wanted to talk about. So what I thought I'd just do with this video is just a really brief run through of a whole load of movies, and let me know if you know these movies and if you've seen them. From 1973 we have Save the Tiger. This stars Jack Lemmon in an Oscar-winning performance. Really fantastic performance from him. And this is a film that's directed by John G. Avildsen, who also directed Rocky. So Jack Lemmon plays a guy who works at a dress manufacturing company. He's very idealistic about his past and reminisces about his past a lot, but he's faced with a very big moral conundrum in terms of how his business is about to go. Really fascinating drama this, and absolutely stunning performance from Jack Lemmon. Great movie. From 2013 we have Beyond the Edge, and this is written and directed by Leanne Pooley, and really it's a documentary account of the climb to the summit of Mount Everest by Sir Edmund Hillary back in 1953. This is quite an interesting one, although it's a little bit on the drab side. It uses a combination of reenactment, of photos, of voice recordings, and reminiscences from family members. And that combination, whilst it all sounds very interesting, doesn't always work entirely to give the film a great impactful flow. So there's definitely other mountain climbing movies out there that I think are more exciting to watch, but nonetheless this is still a very interesting documentary. Beyond the Edge. Have you seen it? From 1952 we have The Lusty Men, directed by Nicholas Ray. Terrible title, but an absolutely fantastic film. This stars Robert Mitchum, Susan Hayward and Arthur Kennedy, and it's all centered around the rodeo. Really fascinating stuff. Really makes you wince at times as well. So in this, basically we have Hayward and Kennedy as a married couple of modest means, and they're trying to save up to have their own ranch. And into their lives comes Robert Mitchum, who's a former rodeo star, and he really gets the juices going for Arthur Kennedy, who wants to become a rodeo star himself so as to make money, and he really starts getting into that lifestyle, much to the worry and chagrin of Susan Hayward. So yeah, really fascinating drama this. Like I say, all the rodeo scenes are really expertly done. Nice integration between the actors and some archival footage of rodeos. But yeah, superb drama this. I absolutely loved it. Up until now, In a Lonely Place had been my favourite Nicholas Ray film. Maybe that's now changed. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have seen the trailer for this, but in April on Netflix, there's going to be a new limited series called Ripley, or Ripley's Game, and it's adapted from the Patricia Highsmith novel. It's going to be directed by Steven Zaillian and starring Andrew Scott, and all very crisply filmed in black and white. It looks very intriguing and very promising. But I mention that because in that case, now might be a great time to watch or re-watch The American Friend, which is directed by Wim Wenders and stars Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz. This was made in 1977, and it's Wim Wenders' adaptation of Ripley's Game. Now, this is an absolutely fascinating film. Dennis Hopper, I don't think, would be anyone's real idea of Tom Ripley. He wears a cowboy hat in this, and his performance is a very Dennis Hopper type performance. But yeah, this is such a fascinating film. Wim Wenders really sort of takes chopsticks to the plot and kind of picks and chooses how he chooses to tell the story, but it's always atmospheric and intriguing and fascinating, and the real standout of this film is Robbie Muller's incredible cinematography where he makes magnificent use of the colours of green and red. So, I mean, if you've watched Paris, Texas, and you thought he did a fantastic job on that, then yeah, just watch The American Friend. The cinematography on this is just world class. So yeah, fascinating film. I'm sure the new version of Ripley's Cane will be very different to Wim Wenders' film, which makes it all the more exciting to actually watch both versions. From 1969, Cactus Flower. This stars Walter Matthau, Goldie Hawn in an Oscar-winning debut performance, and Ingrid Bergman. Really fun cast, really fun comedy this. You basically have Walter Matthau as a dentist. He's a bachelor who doesn't really want commitment, and so he's actually having an affair with Goldie Hawn, pretending to be married, but to convince Goldie Hawn that he is actually married, he has to involve his dental nurse, played by Ingrid Bergman, to pretend to be his wife. And obviously lots of comedy and misunderstandings ensue. But yeah, just really fun, entertaining 60s comedy. Absolutely loved it. Goldie Hawn's comic timing in this is superb. From 2022, there's the film Riceboy Sleeps. I enjoyed this one. It's a Canadian film, but it tells of a Korean family immigrant experience set in the 1990s. And it's directed by Anthony Shim and actually based on some of his own personal experience. But yeah, basically this tells of a Korean single mother who brings her son to Canada and tries to raise him in a background of racial prejudice. And also a son who is growing and wanting to understand his past. Yeah, this is really quite an affecting drama. I enjoyed it a lot. I would say on the racial prejudice side of things, I would like to think that things have changed quite a bit since the 1990s. Obviously, I'm in Canada myself, and I'm living outside Vancouver, and Vancouver is a very multicultural, diverse city, and I think things have perhaps progressed a bit since the 1990s. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, that was definitely something I was thinking about while I was watching this film. I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure things will be quite the same nowadays. I'd like to think that anyway. Yeah, Riceboy Sleeps, very affecting drama. I did like it. A nice performance from the actress Choi Seung-yoon. This was her first role. She's actually a ballet dancer, but yeah, you wouldn't think that. She's really good in the leading role here. And a really nice score by Anthony Yong-hoon Lee. And the score kind of reminded me a bit of sort of Brian Eno. It's very ethereal at times. But yeah, really good film. And please do go and check out Goose's Movies. He did a video on Nova Media releases, and Riceboy Sleeps was included as one of the Nova Media releases that he picked up. And Goose always does a fantastic job of displaying movies on his channel. He's really expert at that. So yeah, check out that video. From 2023 and directed by Charlotte Regan, we have Scrapper. Really enjoyed this one. Stars a young Lola Campbell, and it also stars Harris Dickinson, who can currently be seen in The Iron Claw alongside Zac Efron. But yeah, great film this. It involves a young girl who's living on a housing estate. Mother has passed away, and she's just left to her own devices and trying to avoid social services and convince them that actually she's being cared for. And then Harris Dickinson is the estranged father who learns of the mother's death and then comes back and tries to sort of re-establish himself with his daughter. Yeah, this is really great. Maybe a couple of moments that seem a little bit off key, but for the most part, yeah, really touching, enjoyable, often very funny film with great performances from Lola Campbell and Harris Dickinson. Absolutely loved it. It's up for a BAFTA, I think, for Best British Film. I think that's the only nomination that it's got, but yeah, thoroughly entertaining, definitely worth seeing. From 1975, have an interesting Japanese film called Under the Blossoming Cherry Trees, and this is directed by Masahiro Shinoda, who also directed Pale Flower, which is in the Criterion Collection, and it stars Tomoshiburo Wakayama, who is perhaps best known for being in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. But yeah, this is a really interesting film. A lot of people lose their heads in it. But yeah, Tomoshiburo Wakayama, he's a mountain man. He's very territorial. He kills people that come in his way. And at the start of the film, he kills off a whole load of people, but keeps this woman who has been escorted, and she's a very beautiful woman, very alluring. He wants her for himself. He takes her back to his mountain hut. He already has a whole load of concubines there. She persuades him to behead them all, and then really entrances him and keeps him under her spell, causing him to go off and behead loads of other people as well. The blossoming cherry trees of the title have this kind of supernatural maddening effect to anybody that walks underneath them. Yeah, this is a really, really interesting film. Like I say, there are a lot of heads that roll in this. But yeah, fascinating film. I quite enjoyed it. Under the Blossoming Cherry Trees. From 1979, we have Snapshot, and this is going to be released by Indicator later in February. This is an Australian film, and it stars Sigrid Thornton in a very early performance from her. She also went on to star in the Man from Snowy River films. Yeah, this one kind of gets billed as a bit of a horror movie or a bit of a thriller. It really isn't either of those, but it does concern a young woman who is persuaded to become a model, and then it's really all about the sort of exploitation elements of a young woman, and she's also being stalked by an ex-boyfriend in an ice cream van. So yeah, there's slightly black comedy, it's slightly drama. It's not a bad film, but definitely I would say that there's other Australian films that it would be nicer to see get a release, but nonetheless it's an interesting one to come out, and Sigrid Thornton is easy on the eye, so yeah, good to see Snapshot. Now, director Justine Triet and actress Sandra Hüller are currently getting a lot of attention due to the Oscar-nominated film Anatomy of a Fall. I haven't seen that film yet, but I do really want to. But I went back to 2019 to watch an earlier film from Justine Triet, and it was Sibyl. Really fascinating black comedy, this one. And it has a cast that includes Virginie Efira, stunning in this, Adele Exarchopoulos, who I enjoyed from lots of other films, and also Sandra Hüller in a smaller part. But yeah, this is a really complex film. You really have to pay attention to this one. Basically, you have Virginie Efira as a psychotherapist who wants to give up psychotherapy, get rid of all her patients, and return to her original passion of writing, except she has writer's block. Until she then meets a emotional actress played by Adele Exarchopoulos, who needs psychotherapy as she's making a film whilst having an affair with her co-star, who also happens to be married to the film's director, played by Sandra Hüller. So very complicated, and becomes even more complicated because Virginie Efira's character feels a lot of similarities with Adele's character, and feels that that will feed into her writing project, but she gets way too emotionally involved, including also having an affair with the same actor. So very, very complicated. Quite funny at times, quite bizarre as well at times, very sexual as well at times as well. But yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a lot. I'm sure it's a very, very different film to Anatomy of a Fall, but yeah, definitely worth seeing. From 2008, we have The Bank Job, and this is directed by Roger Donaldson. Now, this is a really crap poster. It just shows Jason Statham. It has a bit of blurb here saying it's everything that action fans could want. This is rubbish. This is an ensemble cast that includes a lot of British names that won't be too familiar, I suppose, to American audiences. But they include the likes of Daniel Mays, Saffron Burrows, David Suchet and Peter Bowles. And this is based on a true event about an actual bank robbery that got really out of hand and involved black power leaders, the MI5, corruption in the police, and even the royal family. Yeah, this is just a really, really entertaining version of events. I mean, obviously, I don't know how truthful they were in terms of telling the story. Quite a few liberties were taken, no doubt. But yeah, in terms of just storytelling and a great caper, this is hugely enjoyable. I enjoyed it immensely. Okay, lots of other films I'd like to talk about, but maybe I'll just save those for the moment for another video. But yeah, my voice is going, the light is going, so I'll finish off now. Let me know if you have seen any of those films, what you think of them, and please do join me again for some more videos. I'm sorry I haven't been around much of January. I hope to rectify that with some more videos coming out soon. But yeah, let me know how you're doing. Let me know your thoughts on the movies. All the best to you. See you again. Bye-bye.